Hi, I'm Kieran Dorn, and welcome to the Kieran Dorn channel on YouTube. Theatre Clap, Theatre Clap. I thought I'd do like another film review. I think I did a film review of Terrified 2 not long ago. A movie I really liked. I can't really say the same for the movie I saw. I saw Avatar 2, The Way of Water, which makes it sound like a kung fu movie. But I saw it. I wasn't necessarily a fan of the first Avatar, but I saw this one because it's like the biggest movie in ages. It's made a mass profit. I thought I better see it at the cinema. And everyone's just going to be coming up to me like, "Hey, Kieran, have you seen Avatar 2?" And I'd be like, "The Way of Water?" And they'd be like, "Yeah." I went, "Yeah, I saw it." And I didn't really like it. I even forked out and paid extra to watch it on the big extreme screen. That's the biggest screen in the cinema. I even bought the 3D glasses, the hipster 3D glasses for $1, which is actually pretty good. I remember them back in the day being more. I remember back in the day where they had the 3D phase where they started making everything 3D. I mean, Avatar kind of kickstarted it, and fair enough, Avatar was like a 3D movie. But then they started making everything 3D. I think like Captain America might have been 3D. Can't remember what else. That terrible Jack Black Gulliver Travel movie was 3D. I didn't even think that had any 3D. I didn't see it; just it looked terrible. But I can't imagine to have any 3D things in it. My Bloody Valentine's or whatever it was, that horror movie, the guy from Supernatural, that was 3D. That wasn't too bad. But anyway, I forked out and paid the glasses because when people go, look, because Avatar is the type of thing that has fanboys, and you say, "Oh, I didn't like it," they'd be like, "Oh, did you see it 3D? Did you see it on the big screen?" And if I said no, they'd be like, "Oh, that's why you didn't like it." Saw it on the big screen, saw it in 3D, didn't like it. I kind of look like the guy from Weezer in these glasses. But it's funny because Avatar: The Last Airbender, M. Night Shyamalan, a terrible, terrible movie. But one of the problems which that movie had, I mean, it had many problems. One, that it had nothing to do with the cartoon, really. But one of them was they had to like re-edit it to make it come out like they had to re-edit effects to make it look better 3D. Like they did things with the fire and stuff, and it just made the movie worse. But yeah, there's also Avatar 2. It was a very long movie, but it made a lot of money, which I'm kind of happy. I'm happy it's making movie money for a couple of reasons. Like I saw it, it's been out for a couple of weeks, and I saw an afternoon session, and the cinema was packed. And it's making a lot of money. And cinemas have been doing it tough for a while. There's so much like, not only because of COVID, but there's like so many other things like games and streaming services are really kicking my butt. And I really like going to the cinema. It's like an escape for me. So hopefully, like this kickstarts people going back to the cinema and cinema survive because they I mean, they are overpriced, but if you bring your own food in, it's alright. But they do mean a lot to me. Anyway, and also another reason why I wanted to do well is because James Cameron, who I used to like as a director, he made some great films, and he was like the master of sequels, like Aliens, the sequel to Alien, and Terminator 2, Judgment Day, were some of the best sequels of all time. It's like maybe Empire Strikes Back, Nightmare on Elm Street 3. They like I can't think of Godfather 2. They're like, yeah, there's not many good sequels out there, and James Cameron made two of the best. But he's kind of lost the plot. Like the second one came out this year. The third one will come out next year, and he wants to make like 3 or 4 more. And I want yes, I want there to be 7 of these things because the plots from the first and second one were pretty basic. I mean, the first one's just like a rip off of like Fern Gully and Pocahontas. Some people were calling it Dancing with Smurfs, parody of Dancing with Wolves. So I just want to see how crap the storyline gets in the 7th one. Like I said, because the storylines now isn't that good. The third one, the 7th one would just be like terrible. I mean, I'll probably be like 60 when it comes out. They just take so long to come out. I think James Cameron might even just like get other people to direct it because he'd be getting on a bit. So he'd probably be dead before the 7th one comes out. But so the first one was about first film Avatar was about like mining, and this one's about whaling. kind of like a rip of a Moby Dick. Call me Shitmail because the movie was shit, and it's a parody of the opening line of Moby Dick. Call me Ishmael. Yeah, it's just so the bad guys in the first one, the humans. It's like a. I'm an environmentalist. So I do bush regen for a job and whatnot. I look at the environment for a job, but I find that this is like fake environmentalism. Like it's like they bring a message about environmental issues, but I don't actually know if they really believe it or if they're just jumping on a bandwagon. The graphics good. The graphics is brilliant. I remember hearing that people were killing themselves over the first one because it was just that world was so much better than ours, which I don't agree with. I don't agree with suicide, but like it just shows we're running out of reasons to kill ourselves as well. Like oh, I'm gonna kill myself because that world in the movie looks better than here. Not that I condone suicide, but come on, choose a better reason. Or not do it at all, which would be better. But it was not that great. And then even like the family in this one, because the main characters from the first one have a whole bunch of kids and they adopt Susan Sarandon's daughter. Susan Sarandon's only in this movie for like 2 minutes. And she had a baby. I don't know if that was her choice or they just wrote her out so they could have this child. But she got pregnant. No one knows how she got pregnant. She's like a half caste, half human, half Avatar baby. But the bad guys from the first one, they get put into Avatar bodies and they come back for revenge, which is pretty cool. That's a pretty cool plot. Then they chase the main family. I can't remember any names. They're all like, Laura Bingle's husband, wasn't it? So they have to move. They move to the coast to try to get away from these the bad guys who are hunting them down. I don't know why they didn't just stay and fight, because the bad guys followed them and they just fucked everything up for the coastal community people. The fight sequences, it was awesome. Like the fight sequences wasn't that long. It was just so much dragged out bits, and the fight sequences was only like, if the battle scene went for longer, I'd be like, that's a good movie. But yeah, it was like battle scenes in this one was way better than the first one. It's kind of comical. But whenever one of the humans, the bad guys fly, like one of those helicopter things, the female character comes and just shoots the pilot with an arrow every time and it crashes. It's kind of like it's almost like a Family Guy running joke. Whenever someone's in the helicopter, out of nowhere, she comes, shoots him with a bow and arrow and makes the helicopter crash. And she's like the wife, the love interest from the first one, who's wife now, and who's a mother. She's kind of like a bitch in this one. Like, the good humans come and try to help the daughter because she had a fit. And the mum comes in and goes, you get out of here, you've done nothing. I'm like, hey, they may have not done, maybe they didn't do anything, but they tried. They went across the planet to help you. Anyway. Yeah, it's a good 3 hours and 15 minutes of your life. And the thing is, they could have cut it down. There was a lot of pointless. Like, they were just showing off the graphics. Like, there's this scene where they're just like walking through the computerized rainforest, and you get to see the animals and plants. And there's a scene where she's just lying on the ground. It looks good, but it's also like wank. It's like, oh yeah, look how good our graphics are. We're just gonna have this 5-minute pointless scene just to show how good our graphics are. And another thing, like when they get to the coastal community, they're which is like a rip-off of like Maori culture. Sorry, I don't pronounce it properly. Which could be counted as racist, but they do have like a bunch of Australian. They have Brendan Cowell in it, like Australian actor. He plays on the human whaling, and they have Jermaine from Flight of the Conchords, who I think actually has Maori in it. So man, I don't know, but it was cool. Jermaine plays like a marine biologist. He's working for the bad guys, but I think he's good. I don't know if you don't know if he dies or not. But Brendan Cowell, he has a mad death scene or possible death scene. He loses an arm, and that was a cool scene. But anyway, when they get to like the coastal community, they're underwater for fucking ages. Like I'm like, oh, they must be able to breathe underwater. Fair enough, because they're aliens. Who knows what they can do? But then it turns out they can't breathe underwater. Like, there's a scene where they're underwater and she gets these, like, glowing plants or jellyfish things that they put on your back and it makes it look like you have angel wings. And then she goes, these will help us breathe underwater. I went, oh, so you can't breathe underwater. And there's a scene where, like, later on, it's like they just decide halfway through the movie that they can't breathe underwater. There's scenes where they're like, couple characters like nearly drown. Yeah, it's a long movie. There was a few people walked out that had toilet breaks and come back with snacks. I think everyone who walked out came back. It wasn't like Terrifier 2 where a woman walked out in the first 5 minutes and never came back. People criticize Terrifier 2 for being too long. That's like a 2-hour horror movie, which is very, very rare. But those 2 hours went way quicker than these 3 hours and 15 minutes. I know there's an hour and 15 minutes longer, but it just felt so much longer. Yeah, it's just... Another thing, I don't know if this is a spoiler. Yeah, it's a spoiler. So one of the oldest sons dies. And I'm like, oh no, I don't want the son to die. Not because I really had cared about that guy and I was invested in his character. It's just like, now there's going to be another fucking crying, grieving sequence, which just takes up more time. I'm like, I wish he survived. To get rid of the grieving thing. It wasn't as long as I thought it was going to be. It was only like 5 minutes or so. But yeah, it was just, when in a 3 hour and 15 minute long movie, 5 minutes is everything. I mean, people criticize The Irishman for being long, but that went so much quicker than this movie. The whale death scenes were pretty sad. There was a young girl, I think. I don't think she would have been a teenager. She sounded pretty young anyway. She's like, I think she started crying. I hope it was a kid. It'd be fun. It'd be kind of funny if it was like an adult. Yeah. Because it's just funny because it's a cartoon. I mean, it's not even depressing. It's not like Plague Dogs or Watership Down. They're fucking depressing cartoons. Anyway. And Futurama, Jurassic Park. But anyway, that had nothing to do with anything. Anyway, this is a long ass video. Not as long as Avatar 2, Way of Water, 3 hours and 15 minutes or some shit. Oh, the thing that annoyed me as well, nothing to do with the movie. The ads before, they had trailers. I love trailers for movies, upcoming movies. And all the trailers literally went for a minute. They just merged all the trailers together of all these coming movies and went for a minute. I'm like, fuck off. I want to see a full-length 3-minute trailer for a movie. They had a whole bunch of fucking... I know it's a long movie, so they probably just shortened it down. But they had a whole bunch of shitty ads. They had this shitty NRMA ad where the guy's cooking in fire and water's coming out of the ground. I think it was meant to be funny. It was shit. They played a whole bunch of those ads. They had an ad for the Catholic school. I don't think the Catholics would even be supportive of this movie, you know. This movie is probably blasphemy, you know. These aliens have their own religion. I don't think the Catholics would want to hear that. Anyway, thanks for watching. Please press the like button. Please subscribe to the channel. Please comment what you think of the video. I know there's going to be a whole bunch of Avatar fanboys, fangirls, superstar DJs. Here we go. Yeah, thanks for watching. Kieran Dalton and 14 minutes out.